First and foremost, I'd like to extend my big thanks to the subreddit WoW community who helped me in a great deal of questions last night regarding on how to go on about making the right decisions for this content you're about to experience. Thank you very much for your knowledge and enthusiasm. With that being said, in this series we're going to cover one of the most amazing novels in the Warcraft lore. It's called The Rise of the Horde and it's written by Christie Golden. It contains a lot of lore regarding how Sargeras manipulated Kil'jaeden and Archimonde, which in return manipulated Ner'zhul into doing certain things that would forever change the world of Warcraft. Some of the characters included, besides the one already mentioned, are Durotan, Drakka, Orgrim Doomhammer, Blackhand, Grommash Hellscream, Medivh, the Prophet Velen, and many more. If you're a frequent player of World of Warcraft, the content of this novel will be a beautiful complementation to your gameplay. Many of the characters and zones in the novel can be visited in-game and investigated even further if you wish to do so. The book is about 350 pages, split into two stories from two different races that tie the knot together in the end. So without further ado, here is the story about how it all began for the Horde. Sargeras had made contact with Archimonde, Kil'jaeden, and Velen, showing them images of worlds to be conquered, but more importantly, worlds to be explored and investigated, knowing that the Eredar was a curious race. Knowledge for the Eredar was what food and water were for the other races. What Sargeras wanted in return was a pledge of loyalty, both from the three Eredar, but also from their people, the Draenei. Archimonde and Kil'jaeden was on board with the offer from Sargeras, but Velen, being the wise of the three, could sense something was wrong. And even though Sargeras made all attempts to seduce them by saying that the Eredar was the powerful, proud and passionate race that he's been looking for to serve him, Velen did not budge. At this time, Velen got to his temple hoping to gain visions through meditating with the help of the Atal'Mau crystal. The vision Velen saw at first was just as Sargeras promised: glory, knowledge, exploration. Until Velen reached a point in his vision where he saw how they've been bent and twisted into something the Eredar called the Man'ari. A word used to describe something horrifically wrong, twisted, defiled, and unnatural. Velen pulled out from the vision, and with a trembling body he broke down in tears, searching for the peace and prosperity Sargeras had promised them. But Velen could only see worlds falling apart. Not one, not a dozen, not 100, not even 1,000. To draw support behind Sargeras would mean to destroy everything. And while all this was happening, the story shifted to introduce the second part of the lore, including two of the most interesting orc characters in the Warcraft universe. They both met for the first time when they were very young at something called the Koshark Festival, a festival of peace where all the orc clans would come together and have a good time without going berserk on each other. During this time, Durotan and Orgrim were only children, two mischievous children. On this particular night, Durotan had snuck out of his tent out of curiosity during the festival while the adults of the orc clans sat around a big bonfire discussing things of great importance. But Durotan wasn't alone. There was another orc child who had snuck out that same night, an orc child named Orgrim Doomhammer. Both Orgrim and Durotan noticed each other and began to talk. They began to tell each other who they were. Durotan, the heir to the Frostwolf clan, and Orgrim from the mighty Black Rock clan. They both decided to team up and eavesdrop to what the adults were saying around the bonfire, but the discussion about matters of great importance turned out to be discussions about cookies, mending, and meals. Bored and disappointed, Orgrim and Durotan found other things to do. These two young orcs started challenging each other in different contests. Everything from who could reach a point fastest by foot, or who had the most stamina, or who had the most strength. Day and night they challenged each other, shared knowledge, talked about their worries, laughed, and even fought at one point, which made the elderly shamans and everyone else in the clans mad. It was very rare for orcs from different clans to be friends and socialize, but these two grew up together and formed a strong brotherhood that would last them a long time. As children, one of their last challenges, they decided to have a foot race through Terracar Forest, which ended up with them being confronted by a huge, powerful, and terrible being that almost ended their life. If it weren't for this blue-collared noble warrior who showed up in the right place at the right time.